So the next question is this. What are the most important lessons you've learned in life? These were not going to be easy questions.
Yeah, well, in no particular order. First is honesty,
Yes.
integrity,
Yes.
a good work ethic and be dependable. Prepare yourself educationally, and I've totally been blessed with that. I had assignments in the Army that were tough, but I weathered the storm and went to graduate school twice. I used my GI Bill and got my doctorate. And all of that gave me a good foundation in the Fortune 500 community. It helped me to stand out in the Fortune 500 community. Absolutely. I think that's why we had the guts to go forward, because we were comfortable in our own skin.
Yes.
Okay. Technical training. I think I've taken every single, if you pull out an ASIS brochure, there's some new titles now, but there probably aren't any courses in ASIS that I didn't take. Some my budget paid for, some I paid for out of my own pocket. And we said earlier, learning is a lifelong thing. That's inherent in me, that you don't earn a living, you learn a living.
Yes. You don't earn a living, you learn a living.
You learn a living.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What else? That's all I can pull up right now.
That's quite a list.
Yeah.
Well, I would also concur with my brother's feelings about it. I believe that a lot of my success was due to doing my homework about what the job was about, and being so comfortable that if I was assigned a task, I knew I could do it. You know, I wouldn't half-step. I mean, I knew I could do it. So for me, going to General Mills, I went from clothing, apparel manufacturing, to a food company. Now, that is a big separation, but security skills are transferable. At the end of the day, you're protecting something. How you protect it is the key, but the skills are transferable. They will take you anywhere. I don't care whether you're protecting gold, Cheerios, or Levi's. Again, learning the basics of security will take you into areas where you will have a good comfort level, and it's just a matter of applying what you've learned to the particular job that you've been assigned, or you've been promoted to, or you have entered into. Because when I went to General Mills, and I told you, told my wife that there's no way I'm going to get this job. This guy is right out of Hoover's FBI. Well, you know, you really can't judge people. I found out later from some people that, and he didn't tell me this, he was gone, that he was my biggest booster. Wow. And a lot of his buddies, pals from the FBI applied for the job, of course, and he essentially said they weren't qualified. They're coming right out of the FBI into a corporate security job, and they just weren't qualified. He said, I wasn't qualified when I came into this job. And he told me, he said, George, he said, you bring a new intelligence to this job that I didn't have. And he said, you'll do well. And so, again, you just can't judge people. And I made the mistake of judging this man. And again, he turned out to be my biggest supporter. But getting back to your question, I would say preparation and learning what you need to do in the job that you're in, and also the job that you would like to go to.
Could I piggyback on George's point of skills being transferable?
Absolutely.
I have been blessed to have been a security director in 6 different industries.
Wow.
When I left the military, I went to work for Smith Corona Marchand, SCM, which had chemicals, mining. They owned Glidden Durkee, and Smith Corona typewriters and paper. They were bought out by a British company for cash, so I ended up in mobile mining and mobile mining and chemicals, part of the oil company. The same skills were transferable, all of the skills that you hear about today. I got recruited away from mobile to AIG, which was an incredible experience. And again, the same skills, a little more weighted in investigations, but at the same time, the same global skills in security. And I was at AIG I retired, got vested, but I grew unhappy. And I guess something was following me because concurrent with my unhappiness, I got approached to move to Sony. And the same skills were applicable. Sony got bought out. Sony had a big downsizing, so I got recruited into the tobacco industry. And the same skills, the same skills, the same disciplines applied. And I retired from the tobacco industry and come back home to New Jersey. I kept two homes. My wife stayed in New Jersey with the grandkids and stayed networked with the family. And I rented a flat in Louisville. Came back, I got a lot of air miles back and forth home. But the same skills applied to tobacco. I was coming back home to New Jersey, and somehow, just out of the blue, I got a call from a search firm. Said, we have this opening in pharmaceutical in Roche. They need somebody for just a couple of years to build a security department. And 7 years later, I ended up retiring in my 70s.
Wow.
But all of those skills were applied across the board, and I never skipped a beat. So I know we're focused here richly on retail, and I'm not going to step on the recruiting pitch you got this morning, stay with that, but realize that what you're learning and what you're seeing is applicable globally. Yeah.
Across the board, and you're talking those skills of leadership, problem solving, communications. Bill, it's the same kind of skill set that we talk about regardless of what the industry is. Those are transferable, and it doesn't matter where you happen to go. Next question. What world event or events have had the most impact on you, and why?
Well, there are several events. I would begin with the Munich massacre and the entry of terrorism into the wider world, if you will. In the military world that I came from, especially in special forces, special ops, we knew terrorism like the palm of our hand. So it wasn't new, but it had impact on me because now I'm moving into the civilian world, and that definitely had impact. 9/11 was a tremendous impact because I was really disgruntled coming out of the intelligence world and realizing that somebody let that happen. You know, and maybe the opposition was skillful enough to beat our guys and outthink them. But there were just too many dots there that said that shouldn't happen. And that has had a lot of emotional impact on me. The other events that have impact on my life are the birth of my kids, rekindling my spirituality, because I was a bad boy. Those things have been important to me.
Good.
And have sort of turned my life around for the right reasons. Yeah.
Never a bad boy, just exploratory. Good, thank you.
I've been trained in intelligence. There's no disclosure here.
Thank you, Dr. Wainwright. Mr. Logan.
As far as my career is concerned, I would say 9/11. When it happened, I was sitting in my office in Minneapolis, and my daughter called from Durham, North Carolina, and she said, a plane just crashed into the World Trade Center. And I said, it did? Are you sure? And so she said, yeah, go see a television. So I did. I found a television a few offices away and went down and saw the second plane crash into the building. And like everyone else, I mean, I was horrified. You can't process this kind of event. Your brain sees it, but you can't really process it. Being a global company, we had people all over the world. We had employees throughout the United States who were trying to get home. So the chairman comes to my office, which he has never done in the 25 years that I was at General Mills, and he said, George, we have people in Europe trying to get home, we have people in Asia trying to get home, and we have people in the United States. What are you going to do? Not what are we going to do, what are you going to do? Now, this is the chairman of General Mills speaking to George Logan in George Logan's office. So I said, well, I'm already working on it. And I'd already started the process of finding out where, through our travel department, where our employees were in these various, we had employees in Saudi Arabia trying to get home. We had employees in Denmark, Italy. We had employees in England and some in South America. So my job was to get these people home and to ensure their families that they would get home, that they were safe or whatever their condition was. Because as you know, you couldn't make a telephone call in the United States at that time. Everybody you call, I mean, the lines were just totally occupied. So I spent the day and night, never left my office for about 26 hours. But I did find out where all of our employees, we had employees on a plane that was coming to the US, the plane turned around and went back to Europe. I was able to determine that that happened. So I was like the focal point, the central communication center for General Mills for all of our employees who were trying to get home from various places. So that impacted my career, and that was probably the most stressful 24, 36 hours of my career because I knew that all eyes were on me. All families were directed to call George Logan and not the chairman or the travel department. Call George Logan because he has the most updated information. Somehow I pulled it off by grace and by God and a little experience. I pulled it off.
Good.
And it was both satisfying and stressful at the same time, as you can imagine.
Indeed. Okay, I've got two more questions. For those of you who have yellow cards and you've made notes, make sure that I get those, and or if you've got a question that you want to ask, we've got mic runners. We're going to have you raise your hands momentarily, but I've got two more questions that I want to ask, and then we'll open it up to general questions, and I'll read the cards from here. So here's the question, and then we've got one more. So who are you? Regardless of titles, regardless of positions, regardless of your experience, and those socially defined definitions of Dr. Wainwright and Mr. Logan, who are you as an individual?
Well, first of all, I'm not a person that's hung up on titles. That's, you know, you have to establish your credibility through deeds and not words.
Absolutely.
And that's the kind of person I am. I'm a people person. I probably shook every hand here over the last couple of days. I don't remember everybody's name yet, but I'm working on that. I like the human energy that I experience on a day-to-day basis. Now being retired, even a butcher in the grocery store knows me by name. Just a people person. I believe in results. I'm results-oriented, but not regimented toward results, realizing that one must be flexible and adapt to the environment that you're in. And I think that's who I am. And again, I can't emphasize that enough personally for me as being spiritually grounded, you know. Yeah.
Thank you.
Difficult question. Self-examination is the hardest thing we can do because when we look in that mirror and, you know, we tell ourselves, "Oh, you're great," or, you know, we kid ourselves, we lie to ourselves. So, again, self-examination is tough. But at the end of the day, I think that if we're honest, we know who we are. And what I've tried to do is to be an honest person. Again, I brought up dependability a while ago in one of the questions, dependable. And also to be a good friend. And if you need me, I'll be there. And I'm not as spiritually grounded as Ollie. I went to church like Ollie did, but I endured it. And I still go to church. I've been a Baptist all my life, but now I don't have to. I go because I want to. I would say that the traits that I just mentioned are basically who I am.